Halloween, and honestly, my biggest reason for wanting to drop the link has been Sabrina Carpenter.
Okay, so I just did a video before this where I was basically reading this article. This is a Medium article. It's titled "Counting Down to Female Celebrities, quote unquote, Turning Legal is More Than Crass, It's Dangerous." It was written by Yomi Adegoke. It is on Medium and it was published June 7th, 2019. So I'm about halfway, 2/3 through the article. So I unfortunately couldn't read it all in the time frame of the original of the previous video. So this is just part 2 of the article. Okay, so I have an article on my phone because unfortunately sometimes the record button is in my way and I can't see all the words. So if I turn to the side, I'm reading off my phone. Okay, so I'm gonna just read over again this part. I was at the last paragraph here, but I'll just read the whole page just for people who are coming in at this point. It said, and then the picture's gone. Hold on. Okay. While some write off this tradition as the sad delusions of even sadder men, what chance do basement-dwelling perverts have with young, beautiful millionairesses? Internet commentators say. In the case of Emma Watson, once the ticker on her timer stopped, she faced very real repercussions. I remember on my 18th birthday, I came out of my birthday party and photographers laid down on the pavement and took photos up my skirt, which were then published on the front of the English tabloid newspapers the next morning. Newspapers was in square brackets. If they had published the photographs 24 hours earlier, they would have been illegal. But because I had just turned 18, they were legal, she said at a He for She press conference in 2016. There is a pervasive idea that girls are ticking sexual time bombs, and that once they reach 18, the floodgates are well and truly open for all kinds of abuse. Coming of age for boys is a beer with your father. For girls, the rite of passage is warding off unwanted sexual attention from men old enough to be your father. Not that many will even wait for the clock to strike before they begin to pray. Britney Spears, who also had a number of sites created to mark her 18th birthday, immortalized the world's obsession with quote-unquote jailbait in her infamous Rolling Stone quote-unquote teen dream cover in 1999. 17-year-old Spears donned hot pants and bra in a setup that can only be described as a boudoir merged with a child's bedroom, complete with her clutching a Teletubby against a backdrop of silky satin sheets. That picture honestly makes me uncomfortable, so I'm just going to cover it with my image. It says, Britney Spears extends a honeyed thigh across the length of the sofa, keeping one foot on the floor as she does so. The opening paragraph of her first cover story reads, her face is fully made up, down to the carefully applied lip liner. The baby fat logo of Spears' pink t-shirt is distended by her ample chest, and her silky white shorts with dark blue piping cling snugly to her hips. The piece continues by referring to the singer as, quote-unquote, the naughtiest of schoolgirls, in what is truly the creepiest of sentences. The cover doesn't even attempt to pretend that they were sexualizing Spears as an adult. Rather, her underage status was woven into the script to somehow make the seedy setup, quote-unquote, sexier. If a man's first thoughts when seeing a young woman is to, quote-unquote, jokingly count down the moments until he can sleep with her legally, he is a sick man. Connor's employers agreed with this line of thinking, dropping him from his radio show in the wake of his comments. But the concept of, quote-unquote, the countdown clock is not just sick. It sends a strong message to young girls that even if you're an Olympic gold-winning snowboarder, a successful actress, a world-famous musician, women do not exist other than for male gratification. Even little girls become little women eventually, and women are to be objectified. We tout age limits as the protector of young women against sexualization, but in a world that continues to tell men that we are here to simply be leered at, they are increasingly impatient. And it says it was originally published on The Pool, the 21st of February, 2018. I don't even know what to say at this point. The whole situation with Lil Tay just makes me very sad. Very sad for her life, very sad for her future. It seems like she is always going to first and foremost be seen as entertainment fodder for the public, and she's always going to be the moneymaker for her family. And I'm not going to sit here and try to say what her father and her stepmother did or didn't do to her behind the scenes. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I will say that he did make an attempt to get her off the internet, because she really shouldn't have been on the internet making content that young. At 9 years old, that's not appropriate. And the fact that her mother had her looking completely ridiculous on the internet, not okay. Not okay in my books. And now for her to be 18, pulling the same old stunts that she was pulling back in the day, I'm just disappointed. Because she's such a talented girl. I don't see why she couldn't just make sketches on her TikTok account. And maybe this is just a stunt for her to promote new music. I hope so. But this doesn't bode well for her and her future. I hope that she kind of makes a hard turn and decides that, you know what, I'd rather be known for my talent than for my body. And I hope that, you know, she can make something bright of her future. But I think the constant gimmicks, I think the constant foolishness that is constantly surrounding her and her name, I don't think it's a good look for her. And I think it's making her and her brand look very tacky. So that's my thoughts. And I will stand by the fact that I think if she was, I'm not going to go out and look for photos of her. That's not what I do. But if she is talking about, oh, the photos were taken at 12:01 a.m. as soon as I turned 18, it's like, was this a whole photo shoot? Or was this amateur? And if it was amateur, were you the only person in the room taking the photos of yourself? Who put this idea in your head to create this account? You know, I have so many questions. Is this another thing that her mom and her brother are kind of encouraging her to do? Is this something she really wants to do on her own? And why did people at OnlyFans allow her account to go live as soon as she turned 18? Because I did read twice. I read a Twitter thread where this one lady was saying, apparently she's a participant on OF. She essentially said that in order to create an account on OF, you have to go through age verifications, and and it usually takes several days to set up the account. Why was her account allowed to be processed, or in the process of being created, while she was still 17 years old? I don't love that precedent for OF. I have very little respect for that app, but this is even worse than what I could have imagined. And if this is what they're doing on the app, then who knows how many girls are being coached and exploited to say, hey, get on there and set up an account, and as soon as you're 18, like, let's just churn out as much content as possible. I don't know. I just feel like for people who can't drink and who have so many restrictions on being an adult, I don't think you need OF. I think the age of consent needs to be raised, because I think that people are getting a little too comfortable pushing people who still have teen in their age range to do some really despicable things on the internet. We have to remember the internet is forever. It's forever. I know of some content creators who have had some unfortunate moments online, and it'll be 10, 15 years later, and people are still posting memes of them from their worst moments to throw it back in their face. I'm sorry. If I had my cooter cat on the internet and somebody took a picture of that, and even after I tried to rebrand and do something different with my life, people kept posting that from me, postal might not be the way to describe me. That's all I'll say. Anyway, I think I've done enough videos about the Lil Tay situation. I wish her the best, but this is not the move, girl. I truly believe you're capable of much more than this. Go to school, get a job, do something else.